80 plus showings, 30 plus offers, $200,000 over my asking price. Needless to say, the first flip of 2021 went beyond what I could have ever imagined. It was seen in that previous video, and 3 months later we've closed, and I just can't wait to show you guys the timeline. I can't wait to show you guys the actual numbers, and maybe most importantly, what I'm gonna do with the money in this investment and all my investments going forward. So welcome to my channel. Would you like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let's get into this. In the last video, we touched on how opportunity meets preparation, and I think that's what happened with this particular house. I'm gonna share with you guys both my good deals and the bad deals. And this was a good deal where I put minimal money down and got a maximum return at the end. So overall, this was a 3-month journey from the middle of December to March when everything closed. And I want to bring you guys here into the specific timelines. The important date back in December last year was December 12th. That was the date where my RPA got accepted. Now, the main contingency for this home was I have to close by the end of the year per the previous owner's request. So I had just about 2 weeks or so here that you'll see to close on this deal. Now, as you can see, there was the end of the year, the holidays, Christmas, just a fiasco. It was a bit of a nightmare and very stressful to close on this house, but I did it. And that was the first main hurdle that I had to go through. Secondly, of course, is the actual renovation portion. So we're transitioning to the new year, starting with painting the exterior, interior, going towards cosmetic updates, pretty much a series of 3 weeks where 6 or 7 days a week I had crews in to get the house ready and rehabbed to sell at a profit. Now again, getting this house ready in only 3 weeks from where it was to where it became was pretty stressful. A lot of work went in, but you know, when we're doing an investment, time is money because we have our payments going out. The longer we hold on to the property, the more we pay, reducing our margin. So we really tried to get it onto the market as quickly as possible while doing as good of a job as possible at the same time. Now, the listing went live just around this middle of this week right here, and I gave myself a couple weeks to let as many people look at the house as possible. Now we're in a pandemic. We have some restrictions as to how we are going to be able to do our viewings and schedule them. But what we found was it was crazy. I was getting blown up left and right. Like I mentioned, I had 80 plus showings within the first week, 30 plus offers by the end of it. And by the middle of the first week of February, as you will see here, we had an offer that was selected. Now, let me go into a little bit about the selection process. Now, obviously, the offers that are the highest, those are the ones that get considered. But what was very important to me as an agent, as an investor, was to make sure that the person I pick is actually going to get this thing through escrow, right? You don't want to pick someone, say no to other offers, and have this person not being able to perform and closing escrow, causing us time, causing us money. So for this one, I called the lender, called the agent, got a good idea. Is this person really serious about this home? Are they actually qualified? And from there, make the selection and go ahead and enter this escrow. Now, obviously, you know, there's no foolproof way of finding the best buyer, but in this case, I made an informed decision. Talking to the lender, they assured me that everything was going to be good. So I said, all right, you were selected. She was super happy to be selected as the buyer. And in February 5th, we entered escrow. And, you know, over the span of the next few weeks here, was just through escrow. Like I mentioned in our last video, the main things that we wanted to get through were appraisal contingency, loan contingency, and the inspection contingency. So some back and forth, some negotiation, we got the deal done. And in the first week of March, we closed and this whole process was finished. All right, guys, I want to take you through a macro level view of the actual numbers of this deal. Now, this particular house, the as-is value was about $830,000. Now, I have an all-in costs on here comprised of three things. Number one is the actual purchase price to get the house. Secondly, we have financing costs. Now, for me to be able to close in this house in pretty much less than 2 weeks because it was tying in with the holidays, I had to get a hard money loan. And that hard money loan is going to be higher interest rate, but it's going to allow us to close quickly. Thirdly, we have our rehab costs to get the house in shape to actually sell. Now, my total all-in cost on this particular home was $797,000. Now, in investment, we also look at what we call the ARV, which is the after repair value. Now, because this home actually sold, we know that the true ARV was $1.05 million. Now, we have to factor in, let's say about $50,000 for closing costs. That's escrow, title, realtor fees, etc. So if we minus out $50,000, we're left with $1 million. Now, if we subtract out the actual all-in cost of $797,000, we're left with a $203,000 profit. Now, that's a big number. I want to talk a little bit about taxes. It's because this deal was done in such a short amount of time. Unfortunately, it's going to be looked at as a short-term capital gain, which is also taxed as regular income. Now, there are strategies that I'll go into in a future video of long-term capital gains, 1031 exchanges, or tax code breaks that the IRS provides for us to pay as little taxes as possible, because ultimately, money saved is money earned. Now, I do want to get us into what we call the cash on cash return. So if we take a look at this house, I have a $800,000 all-in cost if we round up, right? So for me on this house, $600,000 was into the actual loan that I accrued. Then I got an investor that came in at $75,000, and my actual cash invested in this profit and in this deal was $125,000. Now, that $125,000 returning over $200,000 is an unbelievable return on investment. Most deals are not going to be like this, and truthfully, this did about 4x what I would anticipate and expect from a typical deal, but these deals come, and again, when the opportunity comes, I want to be prepared and ready to execute. All right, so those were the numbers. A lot of that profit is going to go back into the next deal, but also I want to highlight the community work that you can do, that I'm doing for this particular project. So the cycle is, do excellent work in whatever field that we're in, hopefully make some profit in what we're doing, build it back into the community, and repeat the cycle over and over again. For me, I was just open. Back in 2016, I first started my relationship with Habitat. Essentially, I just called them up. I asked, how could I help? I have a heart to serve, and I want to partner with what you guys are doing. And Habitat obliged. They told me about this repair program that me as a contractor could help with. And if you're not a contractor, they have plenty of volunteer opportunities. I'm going to bring in one of my contacts at Habitat, one of the staff members at our next video to give some more detail. But essentially for this particular project, we're going to tie it into a wonderful lady in Compton that we're gonna do some work around their house for that I'm excited to share with you, and ultimately excited to give you opportunities to either serve with Habitat or maybe a different nonprofit. So yeah, Habitat's vision is a world where everyone has a decent place to live, and what a great vision that is, and I'm super excited to share with y'all. And thank you for sticking along with this video. I hope you have a wonderful day and see you at the next one. Blessings.